All right, so right now we want to bring on the director of Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, Miss Karen Gahl-Mills.
I'd give anything.
Thank you.
This world were mine.
Now, how does one become a director of an organization such as the Cuyahoga Arts and Culture? How were you tapped to become the director?
Well, for about the last 7 years, I've been in the music business in the classical side. I was running a symphony orchestra in upstate New York and doing some stuff like that. And I heard about what was going on here in Cuyahoga County. I don't know if you know this. This tax that we administer generates over $15 million every year that gets invested in arts and cultural organizations across the county. If we were a state, we would be bigger than 48 other states in the nation when you measure the amount of money that's going into arts and cultural organizations.
Wow.
So I got wind of that, and in my work in the orchestra world, I thought, wait a minute, Cleveland is doing something extraordinarily interesting, and they're doing something really right. I need to understand what that's about, and I want to be part of it. So I'm very fortunate, actually, to be here.
Right. Now, right. Now, were you into the arts coming up as a child, as a young teenager and young adult? Were you into the arts?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad is a pastor, so we were around music and the church all the time, and that was very much a part of our life. And I studied music in school and got away from it for a while, worked in the television industry and did some of those things. But music is the thing that always kept coming back for me.
Right.
It was very much my center. So being around the arts from my work, somebody before the show was saying, I can't work a job. I got to work for myself because I really love it.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, it's about the arts. That's what I love and what I care about. I can't do anything else.
Now, when projects come across your desk, right, asking for funding or help or direction or things of that nature, you got to feel like a kid in a candy store to see all these ingenious ideas and things going on like that. Is it like that for you?
Absolutely. There's an amazing richness. I don't have to tell you. You all know this, I think. But there's an amazing richness here in Cuyahoga County. Wow. Certainly there are venerable institutions, right? Like the Cleveland Museum of Art, stuff that's been here for 100 years.
Right.
But there's amazing stuff happening with live music and performance artists and all over, in pockets and in neighborhoods, all over the city and all over the county. So for us, we get a chance to spend a lot of time looking at those projects. And the best thing about our work, it's not about who you know. It's about the work that you do and how you're benefiting the community.
Now, when those projects do come across your desk and you see things that you like and you are into and you can fund, how does that process work? How does the process of, someone goes from concept to actually getting funding from your organization?
Well, an interesting piece about it, if it crosses my desk and I like it, that doesn't matter. Okay? We've got a really impartial process. Our website is cacgrants.org. And if you look there, you'll see all of our guidelines. We say, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the community better, so we're going to measure your amount of community benefit. We're going to measure your artistic excellence. What are you doing and how are you doing it? And we're going to measure your capacity to do what you say you can do, right? If you meet those three criteria, you're put in a pool with organizations from all over the community. And a group of experts from out of town, actually all from outside the state of Ohio, so that it can't be biased. This group comes in and evaluates the projects against those criteria, and they say, this is worthy for funding. And then it goes into a formulaic process, actually. So I never say, I like you, I'm going to give you $1,000, or I don't like you, I'm not going to give you $1,000. Right. It doesn't work like that. It's really, really fair and unbiased, and I think that's really important when it's your money, because remember, this is public money, so it's your money that we're investing, so it has to be invested wisely, and it has to be invested fairly. Yeah.
Well,
so the first thing we need for organizations is that you've been established in the state of Ohio as a nonprofit. We're looking for people who are 501c3 nonprofit organizations, but we're also beginning to think that there are, that's a pretty high bar for some folks. So we're also looking at other kinds of artistic projects that are happening in the community that we can fund. And what I like to tell folks when I come out to talk to folks in neighborhoods is, if you have a project, or if you know of something, there's something going on at your church, there's something going on at your neighborhood, or you know an artist, and you want to get funding from Cuyahoga Arts and Culture, call
Okay, well then
me.
let me ask you a question. It got to sit on you. With all this money coming through the city for the arts and all these wonderful art and cultural organizations that people can access here, yet you have the population of the city steady declining for the past 10 years. That got to bother you, and then it got to motivate you at the same time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, we all know that Cleveland has some issues, right? And I think one of the things about this public money that gets invested in arts is that, I think you all know, the arts help make the city shine a little brighter, right? Without music, without some of those things in our lives, it wouldn't be so hopeful. And music, art, dance, all those things give us hope. So, yeah, the population's getting smaller.
Right.
We are funding, the majority of our funding is actually going to organizations in Cleveland, though it does stretch throughout the county. Is it a problem? It's a bigger problem for the organizations that we serve. Let me give you an example. Karamu House. Everybody know Karamu
Right.
House here?
Big shout out to Terrence Spivey.
There you go. So absolutely. That's not a huge performance space, right? He doesn't have a lot of seats to fill, but it gets harder for him to fill seats as the population gets smaller. And he needs to fill seats and still sell tickets so they can do what they do. We support them. We will continue to support them. But it's got to be a two-way street. It's got to be people coming out, buying tickets, being part of what he's doing. So that's the biggest challenge for us as the population shrinks. And that's why I'm really glad we're here.
Right.
Because we're able to give him a backstop and say, all right, here's some money to hang you together. Let's help you figure out how to new marketing strategy. Let's help you figure out how to reach people and get people to come and fill your hall.
Now, you experienced a lot of projects coming across your desk lately. What's one of the most intriguing, one of the most things that elated you, that made you happy, that you really took a hold to? A project that really made sense to you and you just gravitated towards?
Well, I tell you, when I'm having a bad day, the place that comes to my head is the Rainey Institute. Do you guys know the Rainey Institute?
The Rainey Institute.
The Rainey Institute. You guys know this place? This is a place that does really amazing arts programming after school for kids. And kids from the neighborhood, kids after school who maybe don't have someplace else to go, maybe they do, they want to come take a dance lesson, they want to learn about music, they want to paint, they want to draw, whatever it is. For 100 years, this place has been here. It's been in a fallen down house, actually, for a while. And now they have some money to build a new building, and it's just amazing how that's touching the neighborhood and touching lives. So that makes me happy.
Now, Karen, over the past decade or so, to put it all in perspective, roughly about how much money have you guys funded to arts organizations here in Cleveland?
We came online in early 2007, so it's been a pretty short time, actually, about 4 years. By the end of this year coming, so by the end of 2011, $63 million.
Wow.
To over 150 organizations.
Wow. What do you see happening with that in the next 10 years going forward?
Well, certainly, we talked about cultural richness a little while ago. We want to make sure that with our investment, we continue to have a really rich and robust cultural scene here. But let me tell you something I'm really excited about. One of the programs that we're funding these days is called the Creative Workforce Fellowship.
Creative Workforce
Fellowship. This is a fellowship program. It's a $20,000 annual stipend for an artist to make art.
Wow.
That's all they need to do. They need to be an artist, whatever kind of art they make. So if you're a musician, if you're a dancer, if you're a painter, if you're a video artist, whatever you do, you can apply to this. It's really competitive. There were like 300 people who applied last year, and they only have 20 slots.
Wow.
But you get $20,000. You get a membership in the Cozy Arts Network. There's something else. There's a few other things. And it's just to support artists being here, doing their work, and doing it in Cleveland for others to see.
Right.
We're talking about public money, right? So public money has to have a public benefit that goes with it. And we can think of nothing smarter. There you go. And we could, there's no reason we can't talk about that at some point. But we want to make sure that not only is Cleveland a great place to live and a great place to raise your family, but it's also a great place for artists to be and thrive. Because with artists in the community, it's I think, stronger and richer and something we all enjoy. So
now, for everybody that just tuned in, what's your web address again one more time?
we are at cacgrants.org.
Karen Gahl-Mills, a champion of the people.
Thank you for having me. Thanks very much.